Board compensation, getting into the details. This is something we cover here on the channel briefly in the shorts, and sometimes we talk about things in a short and then bring it into a longer video later. It's one of the reasons you probably want to subscribe to the channel, because we do this regularly. We talk about an issue and then we go deeper. So today, I'm going to spend a little time on boards and their compensation. This can be very important. Obviously, board members generally want to be compensated. Now, sometimes you have employees who will just serve on the board as part of their job. So they're employed by the company, maybe in a senior officer position, and then the company asks them to also serve as a board member. In those cases, you may not have separate compensation for being a board member because you're already paying the person to be present. But in other cases, you want outside advice. A lot of times you want independent directors. These are directors who are not necessarily tied into the management of the company, so that they have that air of independence and they can make that decision without being an internal officer because of conflicts of interest and other issues. So how do you compensate these people? Most companies that I interface with, and a lot of public companies, do periodic payments, usually quarterly payments. You pay the almost a salary or an amount for the person serving on the board. And I see this for a lot of mid-sized companies moving up into bigger companies. For small companies, people may serve on the board because they're an investor. They may serve because they're friends with the CEO. Maybe we have a situation where somebody's on the board of one company and then somehow the CEO or leadership of the company is helping out the director in some other capacity. Now, obviously, smaller companies tend to have more of these interrelationships, which can lead to conflicts of interest when decisions have to be made. So you got to look very carefully at these relationships and structures. But the reality is you do need that leadership. Boards are fantastic things. It's something we talk about a lot here on the channel, and I believe in them for their decision making. I think there's a reason why they've become standard within at least the corporate structure of America and sometimes in the LLC structure, because they do powerful things. But you have to be careful about how you manage them. Having a compensation system, thinking about giving money, ownership shares, other things to your board members, something that needs to be carefully considered in light of who your investors are, what will your shareholders think, what's a fair amount to be paid, how do you give enough incentive for somebody to be on the board without overcompensating them. We certainly have seen litigation where board members have been overcompensated, and then it starts to look like a conflict of interest or self-dealing, where the person's not dealing with the company, but they're dealing with themselves. We love your questions and comments for future videos. Please keep them general in nature. Comments on a channel like this are not kept confidential, so don't put anything there specific to you. If you want specific conversation about you and your situation, reach out to an attorney of your choosing. And I told you earlier, I hope you subscribe to the channel because we have a whole library of videos and other things for you. Thanks for tuning in today, folks.